As the clock continues to tick ahead of the 2022 general polls, of course, on August 8th, so are political realignments, and quoting this week, a new kid on the block has joined the arena. That is the Democratic Action Party of Kenya, allied to Defense Cabinet Secretary Eugene Wamalwa, as it eyes to split the Western region votes. The big question is, can they turn the tide in favor of Azimio la Umoja? Another hot topic is Cabinet Secretaries joining politics before the expected period in February. But now they are all into scrambling for votes in favor of their preferred presidential candidates. Tonight on Tipping Point, we delve into the political atmosphere full throttle. My name is Frederick Mwitiriri, but first, let's see how the week has been.
Akiendelea kusalia hapo katikati kwa Oka, Musalia atafanya musalie nje ya serikali.
Mnataka Wetangula afanye na kitendawili ama afanye na hasla? Afanye na hasla. Hebu nione wale wanasema afanye na hasla. Mnataka Musalia afanye na kitendawili ama afanye na mimi?
Iko chama ati DAP wameunda, ati hiyo chama ndiyo zuie Musalia na zuie Wetangula. Mimi naambia mami Musalia na Wetangula, huyo mtu amewatumia vibaya, muondoke hapo. Ile idea ambayo mko nayo mzuri, mulete tuunganishe na idea ya bottom up ya William Ruto, tuunde serikali, madharau ya mganga ikwishe.
We in Oka have agreed that we are together to the end, and any one of us will carry the weight, the mantle, the interests, and the vision of the group.
As One Kenya Alliance, we are together.
So tuwaambie Malava wamesema hawapangwingwi.
And to have this discussion tonight, we are joined by Zach Babere, a political analyst who is also a member of the United Democratic Party, UDA. Newton Kagai, who is a lawyer and aspiring member of parliament for Dagoretti North. And finally, Kennedy Omulo, the immediate former chairperson of ANC Youth League. Let's start with Nudin, karibu sana to the show.
Thank you for
It's been a moment. I've not seen you in a while. How have you been?
It's been a while. I've come back with as you can hear my voice.
Uko na COVID, tuanzie hapo.
Hapana, unajua there's a funny phrase.
Yes.
If you don't have Homa,
yes,
in Kenya ama Nairobi saizi,
yes,
uko Illuminati. So me, I think I'm safe. I think I'm safe. But that's on a light note. I think I hope it's not the influenza they're talking about.
I think it's the one.
Because there's a widespread of this thing,
yeah,
and I just hope people get safe. Because at the end of the day, as we see, COVID is mutating,
yeah,
and those who haven't gotten vaccinated, as we're going to this festive season, don't take the risk of going to a country and you're not vaccinated and you take diseases there. And you know it's going to be very expensive. If you're not vaccinated, then you get that thing. You have to spend millions.
And it's free in public hospitals.
Right now it's free, and then when you get sick, you spend an arm and a leg, 2 million for. We've seen many cases, and I'm sure media stations have covered, where people have lost a lot of properties. So I believe just take the jab. There's this misconception that if you take it, will become impotent. You know, some things we need to move away from as Africans. Eh?
It's a myth.
It's a myth. You know, those
I'm second mind, so I know it's a myth.
So have I, and I've finished. I'm ready. You see, to carry on with life, because at the end of the day, the moment you don't take the vaccine, what happens is if we have an influx of the variant, then we go back to ground one. That is. Are we talking about lockdowns again, restrictions? Who wants that?
Today I've seen the ministry saying that we are at 16.3% positivity rate. You know? That's quite high. You know, we are supposed to be under 5.
Exactly.
So that means that we might be seeing lockdowns very soon.
That's not what we want to see, personally, you see. So at the end of the day, people just take the jab. It's less than 5 minutes. Take the jab and get moving. And get some Panadol or any painkiller in case of any side effects. And you sleep and you wake up the next day and you keep moving.
Zach, how have you been?
I've been good, Mtilile asante. I'm back. I'm here.
UDA inakuwa sasa mnasema ni chama national, ni chama kikubwa.
In fact, you know, UDA is not only a national party, it's an international party. Because
mwafungua station mpaka Miami.
Because unajua, like we have an able SG, our spokesperson of the party, has been meeting many people outside Kenya. Members, not just not stakeholders, but members of the party. So we have members of the party who are Kenyan citizens outside Kenya, who are even living in USA, in Japan. So this is a national party.
What do you intend to do with people in Japan? You want them to vote for you, or you want them to be your financiers?
They want them to be all inclusive.
Okay.
Because a party that is an international party is a national party also, and is a party that we want it to be all inclusive. So we cannot neglect our people who are not in Kenya.
Hold that thought.
We have to bring them together.
I don't know, my producer, I don't know if we have Kennedy Omulo online. Do you have Kennedy? All right, Kennedy, how are you? And welcome to the show tonight. How have you been? And I hear ANC has decided that it's not going to join by any chance this new Azimio la Umoja. Are you guys really up for the task to go all the way to next year's polls? Unmute. My director, mkimpata mtanieleza. Asante sana. Nurdin, let's get into it. Now, we have seen a new party. All right, are we having him? All right, okay. Kennedy, talk to us.
You can hear me now. Hello, can you hear me?
Oh, yes, I can hear you.
Thank you very much for inviting me to this show. This is my first time, but my name is Omulo Jr., the immediate former chairperson, and also aspiring senator for Nairobi County. So I think that also should be made clear. Number two, Musalia Mudavadi was endorsed by ANC delegates to contest as a presidential candidate come 2022. And he's up to the task. He's a presidential material. He has supported Raila for years, and he has supported Uhuru Kenyatta. He's a gentleman, and I know he's going up to the ballot. So this propaganda that he's going to support Azimio or UDA, those are propaganda. We are prepared, and we are going up to the last minute of 2022. We have had people say that, we don't want Musalia to be coerced, blackmailed, that the only way he can be relevant is by joining Raila Amolo Odinga. That notion should be removed from our minds, because the time has come for serious change. And he said that it is the people who will decide who becomes the president. So let the people decide, because as we stand now, Kenya needs an economist. Kenya needs somebody who will be able to take them to the next level. And that is what we are currently preparing. And we are also welcoming all our partners and friends who want to join us. Let even Ruto himself, who is saying that is calling upon Musalia and Wetangula to join him, they can also join us.
No, Kennedy.
They're also our friends. They can also...
Kennedy, you will not recruit people on my show. All right, my director, I know we have some bites that happened at the Bomas of Kenya. DAP was in Bomas this week. Let's see what happened. Unaniambia bado? Sawa, acha tukuje kwa Nurdin. So there is a new party that has been formed this week. Are you seeing a situation where the ODM party leader, and of course the government that has been pushing ODM party leader, supporting this DAP, are you seeing this is a situation that has been created by the government itself, trying to split the votes in Western Kenya?
Of course, you see, we are students of our colonial masters. Divide and rule. And that is what this new party is doing, and so many small parties. It is good to have parties in Kenya, because we fought for that. Now, I believe the main reason as to why most parties are formed is basically because of elections. The longevity is another story, or story for another day. So I believe the DAP now is coming to, it's more or less like a checkmate. It's coming to checkmate Musalia and Wetangula, all right? Because if you look, for example, obviously there's issues of state involvement in it, because you see people like Munya there. It tells
you Eugene Wamalwa.
Exactly, you see, those are people very close to the president. And then when you look at those who have broken away from Ford Kenya, for them it's more or less that they failed to take over Ford Kenya, so they have to fight back. So that means they are going for the Bukusu voting bloc. that is either in Trans Nzoia and Bungoma, you realize. So it's more or less a checkmate to Musalia and Wetangula, trying to actually tell them that as you move, you're also coming. So they don't get the entire voting block that they have enjoyed. Like someone like Wetangula has enjoyed the Bukusu voting block, you know, in Bungoma and Trans Nzoia. So at the end of the day, it's more or less trying to balance the equation so that if they don't go to Musalia or Wetangula, they go to Raila, courtesy of something different. Because you realize ODM doesn't have a single member of parliament from Bungoma. So if they can have DAP there, it can cause a ruckus and they can get 1 or 2. And I'm sure it is well oiled. The party is well funded. If you see by the launch it had.
Yeah.
So it's
massive.
So it's more or less, it is going to join Azimio. And they said they're with Azimio. So they're just waiting for the day. I have a feeling that all these most of these small parties will one day converge at Kasarani and endorse the Azimio. Yes. And they move forward. Because if you look at it clearly, that is the intention. And that is the sad reality about our politics. We form coalitions to get power. And then when the moment you get power, then you can't work together. That is why Jubilee is where it is right now. There are issues, you realize. And so we need to move forward in such a way that even though you create a coalition, it is more or less on how you're going to serve the country. But the moment you capture power or to fight someone from attaining power, once you get the power and they haven't gotten the power, you will fight amongst yourselves. Because you fought him, now he or she is no longer a common enemy. Now you become enemies. That is a sad reality.
Let's bring in Kennedy Omulo, because he is from ANC and they're trying to fight ANC from what you're saying. Kennedy, what does this mean for your party, ANC? Now that ANC has been trying to stay away from Azimio la Umoja, what does this mean for you having a new party?
Of course, ANC is a party that has got 12 members of parliament. And I've heard my friend there talking about DAP, the Mbolea party. You see, if Oparanya himself could not convince Western leaders to support Raila 100%, who is Wamunyinyi and the other guy? These are people who cannot be measured, and they cannot even threaten. They cannot even attempt to threaten Musalia or the stability of Western region. And I believe that as an ANC party, as I told you, we are a party that is growing. And currently we are second in the registration of membership of ANC party. So I believe that with the framework that we have and strategies that we are putting in place, we are going for presidency and we are very serious. It is not a must that we join Azimio la Umoja. And as we say that we are looking for friends. A time has not come because, by January is where politics, we are going to start serious politics. So we are open to friends joining us, our camp, and we will form a coalition with like-minded individuals, those who will be able to support our cause. So it is not a must that we support Azimio or we support the Hustler Nation. Already we are in OKA, and we say, OKA, we are one team. So it means that we are also going to bring other like-minded individuals who will also carry the agenda of Kenyans. And if you look at this ANC as a party, it is the only party that is peaceful, cannot be compared to other parties like ODM, Azimio la Vurugu. You saw what happens in Kasarani. That we cannot join Hustler Nation. They cannot be equal to Musalia.
Okay. I hear you, Kennedy. My goodness, Kennedy. You do not want us to speak. Now, Zach.
Yes.
By bringing a new party in form of DAP, what does it mean for your UDA team?
You see,
because you are quoting Musalia Mudavadi. Yesterday, Deputy President William Ruto said that he's calling upon Musalia Mudavadi to join his camp.
Why we are calling on Musalia Mudavadi?
Yes.
UDA is, as I said, is a national party. We are all inclusive. We don't have to block in someone that we are just getting ourselves in a certain corner that we don't want to welcome new visitors, new members. Musalia Mudavadi can come in unconditional. We don't want conditions. But I will not talk much about the party because we have a spokesperson of the party who is the SG, who can give all those conditions. Because I'm limited into that. You see, when we talk about these parties, you mentioned about a new party was formed, ANC was formed. These are regional parties. The moment you talk about the party that was formed, you talk about Western. When you talk about ANC, it's about Western. But look at why are we inviting all these people? We are inviting them because to join a national party so that we can form a national leadership that is all inclusive, with everybody feeling that safe in one government. And that's why we are calling them upon to join the Hustler Nation.
Let's hear your party leader. This is what your party leader had to say. Let's hear the party leader.
Wetangula afanye na kitendawili ama afanye na Hustler? Afanye na Hustler. Hebu nione wala wanasema afanye na Hustler. Mnataka Musalia afanye na kitendawili ama afanye na mimi? Mnataka Musalia afanye na kitendawili ama afanye na mimi? So tuwaambie Malaba wamesema hawapangwingwi.
Kennedy, why don't you want to work with William Ruto?
Ruto has a right to call on for Musalia Mudavadi to work with him. He's a presidential candidate, and you see Ruto is working alone. So he has come to the reality that he cannot win alone. So all these things, what we have realized that Musalia is a big wig. So Ruto is just calling him to join him, but does not mean that Musalia will join him. As we said, we are also calling Ruto to join us. Let Ruto come and join Musalia Mudavadi. So that we work together. I think that will also be a very, very good progress. And my friend is saying that ANC and other parties, these are village parties. There's nothing like village parties. All parties are national parties. So, UDA was just formed recently. And the fact that they are running around, talking to Mama Mboga and who else, sometimes Kenyans are also coming to just see who Ruto is. But does not mean that they have numbers. It is a national party. Even Jubilee was a national party. But if you look at the ranks and file of officials in different parties, can also tell which one is a village party. So what we are saying, let Ruto come and join Musalia Mudavadi, because this is a Musalia's moment.
Before Nuljin,
yes.
I think I have to answer my colleague here in ANC. You see, we cannot ignore and say that Musalia should join, William Ruto should join Musalia.
Why can't he? Why can't he?
If we look at how parties are by now, UDA is leading in the how it is more popular.
How do you quantify that? It's leading?
By the research. And even by now, if you can meet a young kid down there, cannot be able to tell you about UDA, about ANC, but can tell you about UDA. You see, when we talk about UDA and compare itself with the village parties, yes, there are parties, but we don't.
Are you calling ANC a village party?
Hold still,
Nurdin. This, for the longest in this country, we've seen the Luhya vote has been split time and time again. And they know the strength and the numbers of the Luhya nation. What are they fearing? What is the fear, especially with the UDA team, by having Musalia Mudavadi going alone, and Azimio la Umoja seeing Musalia Mudavadi is not joining them? What is the fear for?
You see, the reality is that, as you said, the Luhya vote has never voted as a bloc for a while, okay? That, you see, in politics, nothing is by sheer chance. It's not coincidental. It is by design. Divide to rule. Because at the end of the day, let me tell you something. Most people know if Musalia Mudavadi goes all the way, for example, Oka gives him the mandate, or he decides to leave, or can run all the way, the votes that, let's say, for example, Raila Odinga would want from Western, even though he would get votes, they won't be the number he needs. The votes that William Ruto would be targeting in Western would not be the number he needs. And everybody seeking the presidency, you're looking for 50+1. So anything that negates that or tries to hinder you from getting that, you have to try and get it to your side. So when you listen to William Ruto saying that he's telling Musalia and Wetangula to come and work with him, you see, people have to realize, and my brother from ANC has to realize one thing. These leaders or political bigwigs, coalitions happen, coalescing happens. You see, between now and March, people are talking, they've been talking, and they will talk. And he might be surprised. You never know. You see, in politics, you should never take take a bullet for anyone. And a reminder to him is that the politician you're defending so much doesn't care if you're doing so or not. So don't take a bullet. Never say never. Whoever knew that Raila and Uhuru would shake hands? Nobody say that coming.
4 months after the elections.
So at the end of the day, it is always about interest. So if that political player feels my interest is catered for, believe you me, they will be together.
All right, we now take a short commercial break. We'll be back with more. This is Tripping Point. My name is Frederick. Back with more of this conversation in a short while. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Tipping Point, and this is what Wafula Wamunyinyi had to say during the DAP inauguration this week.
With the view to restoring democracy in Kenya has become the face of impunity and suffocation of democratic space and ideals.
Naangalia kama kuna kipengele chochote kwa hiyo katiba chenye kinaruhusu sisi viongozi wa chama kufanya biashara.
Let me start with you, Nurdin, where we left at.
Yeah.
By seeing the leaders in the likes of Eugene Wamalwa, you know very well he comes from that area. By seeing the likes of Peter Munya, some of the CSs, we are seeing CSs, they have gone full throttle and they're going into politics. What does it mean, especially for ANC, the party, ANC? What does it mean for them?
Today, you're forgetting that today, as we speak, Matiang'i is a Luo elder.
Oh yes, absolutely, yes.
You know, and he has said that he's following what has been told by the boss. You see that now that becomes a problem. Okay, it is a political right to actually have a candidate they would want, but now you see the election has to be fair, to be seen to be fair, because nobody wants to go to a scenario where we had like in 2007. Now, moving away from that, you see ANC back in the day they were saying that it's time that the president endorses Musalia. You realize because the whole he was called
pre-2013.
No, even recently Malala was saying, because A is a safe pair of hands. I don't know who's in a boxing match. We're not boxing anyone. They say, oh, they called him Madimoni and they should change him, and so they felt like they would want that. And even if you listen to the way Musalia is talking, he's clearly not in good terms with the former prime minister, because at the end of the day he feels like A, I was shortchanged, and B, you see, it's the hidden secret. The most hidden secret is that the president is endorsing Raila, even though they say he's not. It's no longer a secret. So at the end of the day, that's why ANC feel like they would want that endorsement. Now, for me, I would urge them to do one thing. You see, as Oka, they would offer a better political landscape in that would be. Right now, we're only talking about Raila and Ruto. That is why we are saying ANC should either join this side or that side, because they haven't packaged themselves well. Because even if you listen to Oka, one is talking about 24 hours economy, one is talking about Pesa Mfukoni, the other is saying form ni different, the other one is saying president, your widows. You see, so they first and foremost, and that is why they keep saying we are together. The moment someone keeps telling you we are friends, then you question that friendship, because you don't have to keep reminding. You don't have to keep reminding me. So the problem is that our politics is made up of conmanship and deceit. So each of them is looking at the other like you meet the other during the night, because you see, there's those propagandas that Musalia and Wetangula, they meet the DP, and even if they do, there's no problem with that at the end of the day, because it's like I said, it's more or less about interest. And if Kalonzo is meeting Raila, that is fine, because at the end of the day, when we get to the election, people are going to decide.
Hold still. I'm being told that we have a bite of Eugene Wamalwa. Can we have that bite?
Akiendelea kusalia hapo katikati kwa Oka, Musalia atafanya musalie nje ya serikali.
Let me bring in somebody who belongs to the ANC party. ANC is in this conversation. Kennedy, you are here. You are still here with us?
Yes, I'm here. You can hear me.
You have seen the caliber of leaders who are at the inauguration of DAP. Don't you as ANC fear that DAP is going to take over the Western region as we know it?
What is DAP? You know, first of all, you have to ask yourself, what is DAP? It was just formed recently. It does not have any...
Kennedy, there was no UDA a few months ago, but there's UDA right now.
Yes, there is UDA, but you know, you cannot compare DAP and UDA. You know, UDA has weight because Ruto was the deputy president. He's using state machinery. He has a name. He has a political goodwill. You cannot compare UDA and DAP, which is a Bolea party. DAP is just formed because, to bring the perception that there's another party that is supposed to provide checks and balances to other parties like Ford Kenya and also ANC. In fact, they are not even competing with ANC. You could have just talked about Ford Kenya. But if you look at in Bungoma, Wetangula is even more stronger than Wamunyinyi. Wamunyinyi himself is going to lose his seat as a member of parliament. So a party that has a party leader who is Wamunyinyi, deputy party, the secretary general is also the other guy. That is not a serious party, and I should not even waste my time talking about it. Let me talk about serious things. One, my friend has been saying that we are asking for president to support us. Mudavadi has never asked president to support us. Look at 2013. It is Uhuru Kenyatta and Ruto who drove to Musalia's residence, and he prepared tea and mandazi, and they wanted to give him this thing. And he said it's okay, even because he did not ask for it. Right now, Musalia has been in the opposition for the years. It is only Raila Odinga who joined President Uhuru Kenyatta. Is working with the government. So, look, let us not bring propaganda that Musalia wants the endorsement of the president. And again, it is not a must that we join another coalition. I don't know where worry comes in. Musalia is a presidential material. He has done his part. He was the former president, a former vice president. He was a former deputy prime minister. He supported Raila Odinga. He supported Uhuru Kenyatta. He has supported these people, even Kalonzo himself. It is high time they also, support him. And I don't see any mistake in that. And you look at ODM or Azimio La Umoja, they took the word OKA, One Kenya Alliance. They stole that idea and turned it into Swahili. One Kenya Alliance means Azimio La Umoja. So there is nothing new in Azimio La Umoja. It's just like One Kenya Alliance. And as we said, that we are offering the new leadership in this country. So it is not a must we join others. Why can't those people also join us? Another thing I wanted to say, to disabuse here, is the fact that, just give me a minute, I wanted to disabuse the fact that Luhya votes are always divided. Musalia stood as a president in 2013. That was the first time he stood as a president. And you see, Luhyas have been voting as a bloc because during Malwa Kijana, they voted. During 2013, they voted for Musalia Mudavadi. And the moment Musalia has been supporting Raila, they have voted as a bloc. So this is a narrative that has been created by political bigwig and those people who are interested so that Western region can be taken as a swing vote. But let us wait and see what will happen in 2022. If those people are man enough, let them go alone and we'll see what happens. And Luhya people are good people, and that's why you will see Ruto campaigning there. You will see it is a democratic region. And let us not reduce Musalia to a Western kingpin. Musalia is a national leader who has a national idea.
I hear you.
Yes.
Now, Zach, let me come to you. If ANC and UDA join hands, how sure are you that you're going to take the next presidential seat? How sure are you? Without the hands of, especially the Nyanza region.
You see, Mtilili, I've told you one thing here, that when they join us, it is will be unconditional. Second, in Nyanza part, they're still Kenyans, and they're in Kenya. UDA is a national party, as I've kept on saying. Now, we are sure because the Nyanza region, yes, we may not get the exact vote that we wanted from them, but we will get a good percentage of it. And we will not only be basing on the Nyanza and the Western, but the whole country. When we sum up our votes, since that we are working, the ANC, I'm even
what
disappointed.
What if you don't get ANC?
No, okay.
What will happen to your DA?
ANC, we are still good because we are working. The ANC, I'm disappointed actually, was the former ANC chair, because he should know that William Ruto is not working alone. He's working with the people of Kenya. He's working with the common Mwananchi, and he's working with every Mwananchi in Kenya who believe in his ideologies. And doesn't need to work with a specific big wing somewhere. And if we don't get the ANC to join us, we have the will of the people. The only thing that we need the NC to join us is, but we want them to be inclusive. We want them to join us because UDA is a party that invites everyone.
Okay.
Let me add this. You see, William Ruto was in Western. You can see the kind of reception he received in Western. You can feel how the ground was. Tunasema tunasikiliza ground. Si hapa nje.
That was in Vihiga though.
Yes. In Vihiga, he was also in Kakamega County, and in Vihiga, everything is okay. So when you look at how the reception
so
was,
you can go alone. Are you saying that UDA is able to go alone even without ANC?
It is able. It is able because it is
let me bring in Nurdin. Nurdin,
yes.
How possible is it for William Samoei Ruto to win elections without the support, of course, of bigwigs in Western region, the likes of Musalia Mudavadi and Moses Masika Wetangula?
You see, first and foremost, anything is possible. That's number one. But number two, you have to look at our political landscape. One, it's more or less based on coalitions. And then two, it's majorly ethnic. You realize for him to say, come on board, we work together, he knows what he's saying because he knows, like I just told you here, it's not a matter of how many votes you get. It is a 50+1 that matters. You realize, if you don't get that, then you have a runoff. And nobody wants to go for a runoff. One, it is expensive. If you're a presidential candidate, the amount you're going to use before the election and after the election is expensive. And you don't know what if the guys you're running against decide to come together, then you've lost because they only need a simple majority. So at the end of the day, it's more or less like banking on that 50+1 to make sure you bank it and you cash it. So what he's trying to do, he's trying to woo them. It's more or less, Oka, everybody wants to, their tagline was Omoka na Oka. Now everyone wants to Omoka with Oka. Like I told you, let me not use the word horses because it would demean those who are vying under Oka. Let me say two forces. So far we have two forces. That is Raila and Ruto. Oka, listen.
ANC members like Kennedy do not want to hear that.
We have to be realistic at the end of the day because he just said that Musalia ran for president in 2013. Has he told us that he got 483,000 votes? Let us be honest as well, So at the end of the day, we have two forces right now. Oka would offer a third force if only it was better organized. And if they were truthful to one another. Because as you look at it, there are those who are closer to the former premier, and there are those who maybe personally don't have an issue, but politically they feel shortchanged. As he's speaking, he's saying they've supported Raila for so long. So for them, their agenda is, we've supported you, it's time you support us. You realize? So at the end of the day, he might say that they don't want an endorsement. You see, in politics, they say, when a dog barks, don't go after the dog, go after the master. And the senator for Kakamega is on record telling the president to support Musalia Mudavadi. And I said that, and you can even check, it's on record. So at the end of the day, what I believe is that Kenya, we need a fresh start. First and foremost, we've seen Kisumu now, the railway between Nairobi and Kisumu is now operational. We don't need a handshake, or you don't need to be in government for that to happen. I just heard that Eugene saying that if Musalia doesn't join guys in Azimio, he'll take people of Western outside government. That is rubbish, because at the end of the day, when you pay taxes, services to you are a must. Whoever is president, because at the end of the day, when you get sworn in public, that's why it's in public, you say Republic of Kenya, not Kiambu, not Rift Valley, or not Western. So this issue of in government, outside government does not arise. It is more or less, how are you going to serve the people? And we are diverting from that, talking about the ideas each person is presenting, and we are focused on majorly coalitions, and that is the problem. So we form coalitions to get power. Once you get power, they start fighting.
Hold still. There's something that the UDA members of parliament have been saying the last couple of weeks, and this is what Fred Matiang'i had to say to the UDA members of parliament, including the DP himself.
Kazi imefanyika ama haijafanyika? Lavu niambie sasa, nikuja hapa nisiseme maneno eti nione haya eti mwambie CS Matiang'i hawachane, asizungumze maneno hiyo ya Raila na handshake. Kwendeni, lazima tufahamu vile mambo iko. Let's be very honest. We stop this hypocrisy and pretense here. Tunajifanya hapa eti there are things that we can talk about and there are things we cannot talk about.
So sera na siasa hakuna tofauti, sababu siasa ni sera na sera ni siasa. So wale ambao wanasema mawaziri wanafanya siasa hawajasoma ile Leadership and Integrity Act section 23.
Nurdin, you are the lawyer here.
Yeah.
Is it okay what Fred Matiang'i and Eugene Wamalwa are doing?
They're not supposed to be in active politics. They shouldn't participate. They have a right to have a candidate that they would vote for.
But not vote for in public.
Yes, you shouldn't. Because that is why we said members of cabinet should not be MPs. That is part and parcel. That is more so one of the reasons. So at the end of the day, what they are doing isn't right, and they know it. But as you look at Kenya, it's a country where we don't observe court orders. The constitution is just but a document that is not followed. And that is why I keep saying we need a fresh start. A fresh start, what do I mean by that? A leader who will observe chapter 6 of the constitution, leadership and integrity. Because you keep talking about corruption, ethnicity. If that is upheld, leadership and integrity, all those things come under that. Or you'll make sure that corruption, I know ending it is hard, but you'll make sure it comes down. Because we keep saying, you see, Kenya, if Kenya has been, people have robbed Kenya, because it's no longer corruption, it's more or less like theft and robbery. It's robbery. If they've robbed this country for all these years, this country is damn rich. So what if that isn't happening? Or reduce that?
We'll be a first world country.
Exactly, because Kenyans are hard-working people.
All right.
Yeah.
Kennedy, let me bring you on board. What do you feel cabinet secretaries coming to Western Kenya and, of course, vouching for the likes of Raila Odinga and not your candidate? What does that make ANC feel?
You know, Matiang'i is just a rude government editor who does not know what is right for Kenya. He thinks that he has the machinery to control and for us Kenyans to vote for a certain individual. And what we believe that public servants should not use their offices or even government machinery to campaign for a individual, and they should resign forthwith. And that is something that should not be repeated. So let us ignore Matiang'i just making noise here and there. But what they are doing is not good, and it will not bear any fruit. In fact, it will even damage the image of Raila Odinga. Another thing that my friend was talking about, that Musalia got 400,000 votes in 2013. I want to remind him that even in 1997, when Raila contested, he got 667,000 votes. So there was always a first time, and it does not mean he could not reach 1 million shillings. So 1 million votes, I mean. So it is, let us not use that as a baseline to judge whether Musalia will get votes or not. Secondly, it is not in good terms for us to say that, 2022, when you see people, crowds, Ruto pulling crowds in Western or even parts of the country, Raila did it. In fact, it is not news to us because remember in 2002, even in 1997, when Raila went out, you could see a mammoth of crowd following Raila Odinga, but it did not translate to him being a president. So, let us not judge candidates by the number of people who come to see or what they are doing. Remember, Ruto has been giving money to, entrepreneurs, small-scale business people. Maybe these people are coming for money. Let us talk about ideology or who is best to handle and manage this country. Whom are we safe with? Who is the best presidential candidate? When you look at Raila, amekasirika. Part of the country, wamekasirika. If you look at Ruto, part of the country, wamekasirika. They don't need it. So we need somebody who is neutral, somebody who will be able to unite this country. And that person is Musalia Mudavadi. Let us not lie to ourselves. And as we, a day in politics is like 1 year. And we never know what will happen in the near future. When we started the journey to Canaan, all of us had hope that we are going to Canaan in the land of honey and milk. What happened? We set back, Raila abandoned the struggle. He took that mamba, that crocodile, he took it to the State House. Ikauma Ruto akaruka na dirisha. So, you see, things change. Maybe in the near future also, the coalitions that are coming will also be able to look for friends who are genuine. Friends who will not be able to betray the struggle of Kenya.
Okay. Now, Dan, I'm calling you Dan. Zach, do you feel UDA should go ahead and ask IEBC to bar such politicians, because they are now politicians, from vying in next year's general elections in a seat?
You see, let me first talk about something here on the CS positions. You remember our president, sometime back he said when he was in Kitengela, I remember very well, that kama unapiga siasa resign, niko na vijana watafanya hizi kazi. Now we expect the president actually to sack these guys from office because they are already politicians.
How possible is that?
And even if it's by now, I cannot say it is possible because of the handshake issue that Matiang'i is saying kwendeni huko. You see, the handshake issues, actually, there is a good side of handshake, there is a bad side of handshake. Some Kenyans have suffered in the hand of the handshake. In this COVID issues, you have seen there's so much COVID millionaires. They have not been brought into book. We have seen so many demolitions, which the CS Interior was in charge. The person who is campaigning now for his preferred candidate was in charge when the demolitions, when people were sleeping hungry in the rain, the cold, demolition were going on, and he could not stop it in the name of the handshake.
Okay.
So Kenyans are bitter also. You can find people have been sacked.
So you're saying he should resign?
In short, Matiang'i and the other people, Eugene, they should resign and join politics. Not use the power. Let me finish. Let them not use the power they have now that will end up intimidating Kenyans, and the IBC should come clear. And I'm happy with the IBC how it made it so clear that they will not be joining that committee where the CS is, the CJ is, and that's kind of intimidation.
That's a different conversation altogether, because I only have 1 minute. Hold still. Yes. I only have 1 minute. Now, should IBC... Do you think IBC has the infrastructure, has the power, has the how do I put it? Do you think they can be able to bar such leaders from vying for posts?
He who feeds you controls you.
Unfortunately.
IBC doesn't have the fund to make it independent. That's, you see, independence comes with money. The judiciary is trying to actualize the judiciary fund that is in the constitution. It's in the constitution. To date, it hasn't been activated. So he who feeds you controls you. So IBC, it's more or less like a toothless barking dog at the end of the day. You see, what we are going to see between whatever Matiang'i is doing or whoever is doing at the end of the day, between now and March, that is when we are going to see a clear lineup. Oka are doing their thing, and as an avid fan of football, I'll use words from Peter Dari. In March, we will see title contenders and differentiate them with title pretenders. So by March, we will know how the landscape is going. Okay, that's all we had for you tonight. Thank you very much, Zach Babere, who is from the UDA camp and of course a political analyst. We have Nordin Kagai, who is a lawyer. Na hajatuambia anasimama na chama kipi Dagoretti North. Okay, we had Kennedy Omulo, youth leader from ANC, the immediate chairperson. Of course, my sign language interpreter tonight was Michael Maidya. My name is Frederick Mwiterere. Thank you. Many thanks for watching this show. Do have yourself a good night.